December 26, 1944. The Pacific War is nearing its fiery end, but on the remote island of Lubang in the Philippines, a young Japanese intelligence officer named Hiroo Onoda is stepping ashore for the first time. The jungle hums with unseen life, cicadas drone, vines twist, and the air feels heavy, like it's waiting for something to happen. Onoda's mission is clear. Hold the island at all costs. His orders: sabotage enemy operations, gather intelligence, and never surrender, no matter what happens. His commanding officer's words echo like a curse. Under no circumstances are you to take your own life. It may take years, but Japan will come for you. As the Allied forces close in, chaos erupts. American bombers turn the beaches into firestorms. Japanese units are cut off, scattered, or annihilated. When the war finally ends in 1945, messages are dropped from planes, leaflets declaring Japan's surrender. But to Onoda there lies American propaganda. So he retreats into the green abyss of Lubang Island, clutching his rifle, his rations, and his unbreakable belief that the empire still stands. The world will move on, rebuild, reimagine, forget. But in the heart of one soldier, the war will never end. The year is 1946. Across Japan, cities once buried in ash are rising again. Children laugh in playgrounds built from the rubble. The emperor has spoken, the war is over. The empire that once promised glory now bows to peace. But far away, deep within the Philippine jungle, Hiroo Onoda still moves like a shadow beneath the canopy. His uniform is tattered, his face lean, yet his rifle remains spotless. Each morning he patrols the ridges, watching for an enemy that no longer exists. Each night, he sharpens his blade by the dim light of a campfire he dares not let burn too bright. To Onoda, the silence of the jungle is suspicious. The leaflets that fall from the sky? Clever tricks. Newspapers, photos, even a letter from his own family. Forged by the Americans, he mutters. The war cannot be over. It would dishonor every man who died believing in the emperor. He is not alone. 3 other soldiers share his vigil. Together they mend uniforms, hunt wild bananas, and set ambushes for patrols that never come. They live by their training, discipline, stealth, loyalty. But one by one, time wears them down. One deserts. Another is killed in a skirmish with local police. Soon, only Onoda remains. Back in Japan, the 1950s bring television, neon lights, and baseball. The world is dreaming of the future. Yet somewhere in the sweltering jungles of Lubang, a man still hides beneath the leaves, his heart anchored to a war that ended a decade ago. To everyone else, it's history. To Hiroo Onoda, it's orders. By the 1960s, Lubang Island has become a quiet place. Fishermen cast nets along the shore, children run beneath palm trees, and the war is a fading rumor told by old men. But deep in the dense, tangled forest, something stirs. A rustle. A shadow. A figure watching from the trees. For the villagers, he becomes a legend, the ghost of Lubang Island. Cows vanish in the night. Crops are burned. Shots echo from the hills. When locals go searching, they find only footprints and empty ration cans from another era. It's Hiroo Onoda, still carrying out his orders. His uniform, though patched and faded, still bears the insignia of Imperial Japan. He cleans his Arisaka rifle each morning, keeping it battle-ready as if the Emperor himself might inspect it at any moment. He believes his comrades are out there too, still fighting, still waiting. Every year, planes drop leaflets urging surrender. But Onoda studies them like an intelligence officer, noticing a wrong typeface, a new design of paper, a date that doesn't fit. Forgeries, he decides. The enemy grows more cunning. He writes in his logbook, recording operations. Burned 2 rice stores of the enemy. Engaged hostile patrol. No casualties on our side. To him, it's not survival, it's duty. And so, the world keeps changing. Man lands on the moon, Tokyo hosts the Olympics, while Onoda still hides beneath the same canopy, trapped in a war of ghosts and loyalty. In the eyes of the locals, he's become something else entirely, not a soldier, not even a man anymore, but a myth. By 1972, the jungle had grown over the war. Trees swallowed bunkers, vines strangled rusted helmets. Nature had buried the empire Onoda still fought for. But one day, something changed. A Filipino patrol stumbled upon three figures moving silently through the underbrush. A skirmish broke out, gunfire cracked through the forest. When the shooting stopped, two were dead. Only one escaped into the trees. Word spread quickly: a Japanese soldier is still alive on Lubang Island. The story made headlines around the world. Could it be true? Almost 30 years after World War II ended, a lone soldier still refusing to surrender? Back in Japan, the public was fascinated, half in disbelief, half in awe. Expeditions were sent to find him, armed with microphones and cameras instead of guns. Planes dropped letters, photographs, even recorded messages from his family. Onoda examined them all, and dismissed them. Clever forgeries, he thought again. Among those who heard the rumor was a young adventurer named Norio Suzuki, a university dropout with a restless spirit. He told his friends, "I'm going to look for three things: Lieutenant Onoda, a panda, and the abominable snowman, in that order." In February 1974, after days of searching, Suzuki pushed through the vines and stood before a man in a tattered uniform, holding a still-polished rifle. The two stared at each other, one from the past, one from the modern world. Suzuki smiled. "I'm Japanese," he said gently. "The war is over." Onoda hesitated, eyes narrow. "If the war is truly over," he said quietly, "someone from my command must come here and relieve me." The jungle held its breath. After 30 years, the soldier was still waiting for his orders. News of the encounter spread across Japan like wildfire. A man lost in time, still fighting for an emperor who no longer ruled. The government acted quickly. If Lieutenant Hiroo Onoda would only surrender under direct orders, then those orders must be delivered. In March 1974, the impossible happened. Onoda's former commanding officer, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, now an elderly bookseller, was found and flown to the Philippines. When he stepped onto Lubang Island, decades had passed since the last time he'd seen Onoda, yet the man he once commanded still waited in the forest, armed and vigilant. At dawn, Onoda appeared, his rifle slung across his shoulder, his uniform faded but neat. He saluted sharply, as if no time had passed at all. Major Taniguchi read aloud the orders, written formally and sealed. "In accordance with Imperial command, all combat operations are to cease immediately. The Imperial Japanese Army has been dissolved." The words hung in the humid air. Onoda's hands trembled. For 30 years he had fought for a cause that no longer existed. His comrades were gone. His emperor was gone. His war, a shadow of memory. Slowly he removed his rifle, sword, and grenades, laying them carefully before his commander. He saluted one final time. For the first time since 1945, Hiroo Onoda surrendered. When he stepped out of the jungle, blinking into the sunlight, the world around him was unrecognizable: airplanes, cars, television cameras, a future he'd never imagined. As journalists swarmed, one asked, "Lieutenant, why didn't you surrender earlier?" He paused, looking distant. "We were soldiers. We received an order, and we obeyed it." March 10, 1974. After nearly 30 years in the jungle, Hiroo Onoda steps out of the trees in full uniform, polished boots, sword at his side, metals gleaming faintly in the tropical sun. Cameras flash. The world watches as a man who still lives by 1945 standards salutes a nation that has long since moved on. He presents his sword to President Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines, who, in an extraordinary gesture, grants him a full pardon for the acts he committed during his decades in hiding. The war, Marcos says, is truly over. When Onoda returns to Japan, the reception is surreal. Crowds cheer, waving flags, yet the world he once fought for is gone. The streets are filled with neon lights and Western cars. The emperor he vowed to serve has renounced his divinity. The Japan of his memory, of duty, sacrifice, and empire, has vanished. He gives interviews, calm and deliberate, his face unreadable. For me, he says, Japan never lost the war. I just followed my orders. But behind that loyalty lies something else, a quiet confusion, perhaps even grief. He struggles to adjust to modern life, feeling like a relic from another world. After a time, he leaves Japan for Brazil, hoping to find peace as a rancher among the quiet hills. Years later, he returns once more to his homeland, dedicating his life to teaching discipline and survival skills to Japanese youth. In 2014, at the age of 91, Hiroo Onoda passes away, the last soldier of an empire that refused to surrender. For him, the war was never about politics or conquest. It was about duty. And in his unbroken obedience, he became something both tragic and timeless. A man who fought until the world forgot what he was fighting for. Thank you for watching. If you want to uncover more stories of power, betrayal, and survival from the darkest chapters of history, subscribe to the History Vault and witness the human stories behind the events that shaped our world.